Hey everyone, Jodie here. Welcome to the second free video in this three-part training series. First, I want to thank you for all the comments in the first video. It was really great reading them. You probably saw me in there commenting and answering some of your questions. I really enjoyed hearing about how you're going to apply these tools to your thinking and how these concepts are going to make an impact on your life. Last time, I took you through why you can't move forward without properly exploring why you see and interpret the world the way you do. We dug deep into how to challenge our deep-rooted perceptions of the world, and I shared with you some techniques that you can apply to your life immediately. If you didn't see my last video on perceptions, there's a link to the first video above. Be sure to check that one out. Today, we're going to look at thinking traps. Now, perhaps you're wondering what to do with your life and you want to know what's preventing you from figuring it out. Perhaps you want to make your goals, dreams or ambitions a reality, or you've fallen into some negative thinking traps and you don't know how to get out. Before we tackle those, let me remind you that over these next few videos, I'm going to share with you a framework to easily navigate aspects of the topic of you. It's a blueprint. The blueprint, or as I like to call it, a YouPrint. And if applied properly, it will accelerate you in achieving the results you really want in life. Now, why is this important? Well, because it makes decision making about your career, relationships, health and finance infinitely easier and speedier. No more agonizing and self-doubt, unsure of your next move. Your YouPrint will be the starting point and the basis for all of your improvements. Now, let's get back to those thinking traps. Today we'll explore what your natural thinking style is and how it's currently influencing your mindset and your decisions. You'll learn how to identify your common thinking traps and how you can misinterpret situations that are happening around you. And you'll learn how to manage them. Now, this is powerful information. Knowing this can unlock enormous potential in yourself. But what if you believe that you are just the way you are and that's it, it's not going to change? Well, conventional wisdom would say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. However, we have stacks of research from the fields of neuroscience, psychology and mindfulness that proves that you have more power now to upgrade yourself than you've been led to believe. It's not about quick fix tricks. It's about learning who you are and how to leverage that to improve your life. It can take a huge amount of time and effort. But the good news is you can accelerate this process just by watching these videos. And it couldn't be simpler. Why? Well, firstly, you'll become aware of the different tools and techniques that exist. And you'll learn some key concepts and how you can apply those to your life. Now, the great thing is that this is about understanding. And it can be as fast as days or even hours. Secondly, you don't have to go out there and aimlessly search for exercises, tools and techniques, or try and make sense of them and how they connect to each other, or work out how best to apply it to your life. You don't have to do that because I've done all of that for you. I've spent years researching and curating what I believe to be the very best, and today's video is about thinking traps. People often tell you to think positively, to not be negative or pessimistic, but it's much more compelling when you know why. What I'm going to do here is give you some specific evidence to explain how that affects you, and more importantly, give you clear tactics to help you get in the right mental track and cope with life setbacks. So with that in mind, let's get back to the studio and get stuck into the topic of thinking traps. So our thoughts are impacted by our values and beliefs, and our values and beliefs impact our thoughts. When we pay attention to the thoughts in our head, that's what we call mind chatter. And sometimes it's louder than other times, but it's usually always going on in the background. And that's why it's important to pay attention to the things that we say to ourselves, because we have common thinking patterns and we also fall into common thinking traps. So let me first of all tell you about the monkey trap. I'm sure you're wondering, why are we talking about monkeys? But let me explain. So the monkey trap is a very, very simple technique that people use in order to catch monkeys. Now, what is it? It's basically a jar or a pot of some description that is secured or tied with a rope to a tree or to the ground with a banana in it. Now, little monkey comes along, sees the banana in the jar, puts his hand in. And when it tries to take its hand out, it can't because the banana is too wide. Then from out of the jungle come its captors and start to walk towards the monkey. And the monkey is jumping up and down, rah, screaming, because it's frightened and it knows it's about to get captured. What does the monkey do? Nothing. A sack goes over its head and it becomes captive. Like, all the monkey had to do was let go of the banana, because that was the only thing stopping him from getting his hand out. But it didn't do that. And just like there's monkey traps, there's thinking traps, there's human traps as well. And that's our thinking. You know, just because we think a thought doesn't make it true, but we act like all of our thoughts are accurate. And we also act like our thoughts control us, when in fact we control our thoughts. It's the other way round. So what's really important is to recognize what our thinking, what our common thinking is. So let me tell you, we have 80,000 thoughts a day. I don't know who counted that or how accurate it is, but let's just say we have a ton of thoughts a day. What percentage do you think are negative? Well, you might be surprised to learn that it's a whopping 75%. Now, I was certainly surprised because I don't actually consider myself a particularly negative person. And it's not because you are a negative person, but it's because of the negativity bias. We pay more attention and focus to the negative things in life than to the positive things because, well, for reasons of survival, it's important for us to know what the threats are. Now, if 75% are negative, 10% are actually just really general, like, what am I going to have for dinner tonight? Or did I let the cat out? Did I leave the oven on? And that leaves, well, not very many positive thoughts behind. Now, we're not that imaginative when it comes to our thinking. We're quite repetitive, actually. And the same thoughts just go round and round unless we do something different. So let me share some common thinking traps with you, which may sound familiar. Try and listen out and see if you can think which ones are the ones that fit you. So we've got, well, mind reading. This is a really common one. It's whenever you hear someone say, I think that they think that I did that because blah, 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 blah. You barely know what you think, never mind what someone else thinks. And unless you're psychic, which you're not, by the way, as soon as you say, I think that they think, well, you're getting into make-believe. And actually, what you think they think just doesn't exist. You've totally made it up, so don't waste your time. As soon as you hear yourself say that, just stop. Then we've also got tunnel vision, when you just see things one way and you can't see it any other way. And actually, if you remember the first video in perception, that I demonstrated how you can just see things one way unless you're shown a different way. We've also got jumping to conclusions. How many times have you done that? Somebody says something and you decide that that's because they don't like you, or you decide because whatever it might be, but you go from one comment straight to the end of a big conclusion about that person or about you often. We've also got fortune telling. Well, if I do this, then this is going to happen, then therefore I shouldn't do that. It's as if we've got a crystal ball where we're predicting the future. You can't predict the future. It's important to be aware that sometimes your thoughts are actually a clue to how you're feeling. So you might think, say before a big presentation, oh, why am I doing this? I'm not very good at these things. Oh, I'm going to get it wrong, etc., etc. And actually, what might be really going on there is a sense of anxiety, and it's manifesting itself in your thoughts. Or maybe you're just frightened, that you feel fear, and that's okay. You can actually talk yourself around from that. And just remember this thought. Fear is an emotional response to one predicted outcome. What if this happens? Now you can just as equally focus your attention on another predicted outcome. the positive outcome, because this is what will motivate you and propel you forward. So it's important to pay attention to where your attention is and where your thoughts are. Now, a couple of other thinking traps. Overgeneralization. When we just, actually, here's a great one. All handsome men cheat. This is a real one that a client of mine once had. It's an overgeneralization, it's a stereotype, but it's a common thinking trap that people fall into. And also, this sense of all or nothing. If you ever hear yourself saying, oh, I always blah blah blah, or I never blah blah blah, then it's a thinking trap, because that's not true. Things are never always, and it's never either. So pay attention to that. But one of my favorites is catastrophizing, which I kind of demonstrated in the last exercise. So usually something small happens, like you get a text message from your boss saying, where are you? And you read it and you panic and you think, oh my God, I'm late, they're gonna kill me. Oh, maybe they're gonna fire me. This is awful. Maybe I should just quit. I'm just not gonna go into work. And before long, you've just created this big story about what it's all about. And actually, maybe they just want you to get them a coffee. Or maybe they're going to be late and they want to tell you that they're late, and it's really simple and it's not a big thing, but you've already turned it into a big thing. So it's important to tune in to the voices in your head. And I'm going to guide you through a little visualization to help you do that. So I want you to close your eyes. Now, I can't control that because I'm not there with you, but I highly recommend you close your eyes, because this is going to be more effective if you do. And I want you to locate that voice in your head. Where does it come from? Is it from the back of your head? Is it the front? Maybe it's not even a voice. Maybe it's a feeling that you have in the pit of your stomach. And I want you to find out, where is it and where does it live? Maybe it's on your head, maybe it's on your shoulder, maybe it's outside. And what's it called? I want you to name it. Is it the gremlin? Is it Mr. Nasty? Is it Negative Nick? Sarcastic Sally? Is it just it? But take a moment and give it a name. Now I want you to consider, what tone of voice does it have? Is it scathing? Is it angry? Is it really calm but sarcastic? Maybe it has a childish voice. Maybe it's a girl's voice, maybe it's a boy's voice. Maybe it's loud, maybe it's gentle. But have a think about that for me. And now I ask it, what percentage of your thoughts does it give you that are negative? Just come up with any number. It'll feel intuitive. And does the voice encourage you? Does it support you? Does it inspire you? Or does it make you feel nervous? Does it make you anxious? Does it make you second guess yourself? And what excuses does it feed you? Does it say, oh no, not yet? You're not ready, you're not good enough, you don't deserve it, if only you could, but you can't. Pay attention to those voices. Okay, I want you to open your eyes now. Now, that's a bit weird, right? You've just done a visualization. But it's really important for you to listen to the voice in your head. And the most important part really is to give it that name, because that way you are disassociating yourself from that voice, because that voice is not you. It's your feelings. Sometimes it's your thoughts, but your thoughts aren't necessarily true and they aren't necessarily accurate. So next time you find yourself in a situation, maybe you're in an intense, stressful situation, you're about to give a big presentation at work, and that voice tells you, oh no, you're never good at this. They're gonna laugh, they're not gonna like you. Just remember to disassociate and say, no, that's just the gremlin talking. That's it talking. That's Nasty Nick. And Nasty Nick, he doesn't know anything anyway. You control your thinking. Your thoughts do not control you. It's like going to your own wedding and complaining about the band. If you don't like what you're listening to, change it, and you have that control. It's important. You know, I often say to people, if you were to take the things that you say to yourself and actually say it to someone else, they'd punch you in the face. It's so rude. You wouldn't be so mean to somebody else, but we are to ourselves. We're not our best friends. We're often our worst enemies. And a wise man knows that being our worst enemy, we're full of cunning. We need different techniques in order to overcome those. So use that visualization, give your voice a name, and next time that negative voice comes up to betray you, just say no. I don't have any time for the gremlin or for it or for nasty Nick. Do that for the next week and see what difference that makes in your life. So I've just touched on thinking traps, and as you can see, it goes much deeper and there's lots more to share on the topic, but we don't have time to cover everything right now. Now, there's a reason why I'm doing this training. It's because I believe that we are so often living below our potential, and the one system that we rely on to fill the gaps of our knowledge, the education system, doesn't train us on the basics of the human mind, on confidence building, on behaviour change. It teaches us skills, academic skills like how to multiply or how to speak another language, but it doesn't teach us life skills. It doesn't teach us self-empowerment, mind management, how to overcome limiting beliefs, how to be able to go out there and bravely achieve what you want in the world. The great thing about learning these sorts of skills online is that you can learn it whenever it suits you. It's not something that you need to get in the car for or schedule your day around. You've total flexibility to make it work for you in the best possible way. You can sit in the comfort of your own home and already be improving on your life, be accelerating towards the achievement of your goals. You've finished the second video now of this 3 3-part training series. You're building momentum, you're raising your self-awareness, you're gathering confidence, and you're building up your understanding of who you are and what you want from your life. Now, how can you create a framework through which you can sustain and maintain these sorts of results for the rest of your life? I'm going to leave you with that thought. It may seem like an overwhelming task right now, but in my next video, where I'll explain how our values influence us more than we realise, I'm also going to show you how you can create a framework for life, one that works with you in an easily manageable way. In this video, I've given you another piece of the puzzle, but to answer the question, who am I, the vital starting point for all of life's decisions, you need to see the whole picture. And when you have 1 or 2 pieces of the puzzle missing, you can't see how it all slots together. So this can make it pretty difficult to progress. So that's why it's important to watch the next video, because that's exactly what we're going to cover. I'm also going to give you the framework, the blueprint, or as I call it, your YouPrint, that you can really take away with you. And it's a blueprint that makes you you. You're also going to be able to download this so you can follow along. I think you're going to love it. Right now, what I'd love for you to do is to scroll down and to leave a comment. I want you to consider how things might be different for you now you've learned a few things about thinking traps. Write your thoughts in the comments. I'm really looking forward to reading the comments, and I'll jump in there and answer any questions that any of you might have. So with that, I'm going to sign off, but I'll see you at the next video.